Hello, this is Corey Trosclair, and this is a tutorial on how to do shapes and measurements in SketchUp for the web browser. Please begin by click Start Modeling. You should receive a screen similar to the one currently on your screen. Please delete the extra part, which would be the human lady in the middle. Once you have that, you should have a screen that looks similar to mine. If your screen does not have the solid blue, green, and red lines to the right, on the right-hand side, you should have something called the Solid Inspector. Sorry, not that one. The top one called the Entity Info. Actually, let's do Views. Sorry, it's called Views. The View screen will let you basically pick which way you want to look at it. For this tutorial, we'll be using the bottom right one, which has a barn facing to the bottom left corner of your screen. If you click that, it should center it so that the right side is where we'll be working. And then you can go ahead and click Views again or exit out of it by clicking the X. And then you'll have this screen. So once you're here, what we want to do is set up a 2D object, and then we can transform that into a 3D object, and then we can copy and paste to get what we want. So I'm going to start on the left over here. I'm going to select the icon that looks like and is called rectangle. It'll open up several different options, but I just want the first one, which is called rectangle. This should give you a red pencil with a blue rectangle on it. That tells me that I'm drawing along that axis right there, which is my top axis. So I'm going to be drawing along the right side and the front. So when I draw an object, what I want to do is I don't want to hold down the left mouse button. I want to just click one time with the left mouse button on the origin. And then I should be able to drag my mouse around 4 different planes all along the green and red. And basically this lets me resize my object. If you ever see a line in the middle, that indicates that your object is now a square and that the length and the width are the same length, and you will not be able to edit the dimensions because a square is equal on both sides. So make sure before you attempt this next part that you have something that looks like a rectangle, not like a square. So I just put a rectangle here. There you go. I'm not going to click anything else. So right now I haven't clicked anything. I clicked the left mouse button one time and let it go. I'm not dragging, but I can still freely move it. What I'm going to do is just start typing. And what I want to type is the exact dimensions that I'm looking for. We're going to make a 2x1 rectangle. So I'm just going to type the number 2, quotation marks, comma, 1, quotation marks. If you look in the bottom right-hand corner of my screen, it'll show you what my current dimensions are. Once I've typed that out, which the quotation marks stand for inches, I'm going to press enter, and my shape will automatically resize to the dimensions I just made. You may notice that your shape is extremely small now. That's because we went from like the size of a 6-foot human to about 2 inches. In order for us to figure out exactly how to zoom in there, if you don't have a middle mouse wheel, which you can use to scroll, you can instead come down here to this tool called Orbit. And what I'm going to have you do is click the zoom window icon, which is the 4th icon under the Orbit tool. I'm then going to hold left, drag the size I want my screen to be, and then let go of left once I have the right size. That will zoom it in so that I have the exact size I'm looking for, and I can actually see my object. If I need to get closer, I can zoom again, and it'll blow my screen up to the size I want to zoom. Now, we're in a pretty good spot. We have our 2x1 rectangle. However, I need my 2x1 rectangle to become a 3D object. In order to make a 2D object a 3D object, you're going to right underneath the rectangle tool on the left toolbar, you're going to click Push-Pull and select the first tool, which is also called Push-Pull. We're going to do the same process we did previously. We're going to left-click and let go, and then we're going to drag to make sure that we have free fluid motion with this. If we have the fluid motion, we're going to do the same thing we just did. So I made it 2 inches long and 1 inch wide. So now I'm going to do the depth. I'm just going to type in 1 quotation mark, and then I'm going to press enter. Now what that has done is automatically set my dimension for my height or my depth to 1 inch. So now I have a 1x1x2 object, and everything is perfectly set up how it's supposed to be. And I know that because when I look at it, I can both see it, and when I click on a specific line, for example, if I click this line, and I check over here where it says Entity Info, it'll tell me exactly how long that line is. This line is 1 inch, for example. This line is 2 inches. This line is 1 inch. That indicates that I have a 1x1x2 inch object. This is how you make blocks in SketchUp. What we'll do now briefly is make an even block and then show how to copy and paste so that you can make your own puzzle blocks. So I'm going to select this arrow icon over here called select. I'm going to hold left and highlight the entire object, and then I'm going to press delete on my keyboard. So we should be back from square one now. I'm going to select my rectangle again, click on my origin, drag it out. However, this time I'm going to type 1 quotation, comma, 1 quotation, because I want a square this time. So if you look in the bottom right, you'll notice my dimensions are 1 inch by 1 inch. Press enter, and I now have a 1 inch by 1 inch square. We're going to grab the push-pull tool from the left side again, left click, drag up, type 1 quotation mark, and that has given me a 1 by 1 by 1 inch cube. Holding middle mouse button will let me just manipulate it like this. If you don't have a middle mouse, you can always click the orbit tool over here on the left and just hold left, and it will let you drag around like that too. So I have my 3D object, and that's my cube. However, for your project, you're supposed to make puzzle pieces that make up a 3 by 3 by 3 cube for puzzle. So each one of these objects needs to be 4 or 5 or 6 of these large. So if I want to make a copy of the cube I currently have, what I'll do is click the select tool, hold left, highlight the whole thing, let go of left, and it has now selected the entire object for me. Now that I have the entire object selected, if I right click, I can click the second icon called copy, and that will make a copy of this. If I want to paste that same copy, I right click again, and I click the third option called paste, and it will now make my mouse the square. If you'll notice, when you drag this toward the other object, it'll snap to it so that it's nice and even, and then you can build whatever you need to build for your puzzle object. If you left click when it's in place, it'll stay there. I'm just going to paste another one. I'm going to put one on top. I'll paste another one and put it next to it. Let's pretend like one of my cubes looks like this. I would now be done with one of my puzzle pieces for my cubes. In order to save this, you would take this angle, which is an isometric view, 3D, and what you would do is come over here to this icon right here that says save. Make sure you save it, because if you lose your project, you'll have to redo it. You can just click SketchUp and call it whatever you want. Call it Cube 1 so that it's easy for me to remember. Now that I have my project saved, I'm ready to export the file to an image so that I can upload it into Canvas for credit. This middle folder between your name and the word saved right here is where you're going to export your image file from. Once you have this clicked, please click export, and then I prefer we do a PNG file, because a PNG file is an easy image file for me to read. STLs are 3D images, which I don't mind, but I prefer PNGs from the isometric angle for these cubes. Click PNG. It's going to tell you this is what it's going to look like when we download it. You can also change your angle if you need to, because it looks weird. I prefer it be at this farmhouse angle, the one we started with. You can also do a transparent background. It doesn't really matter. But when you click export as PNG, it's going to say it's a larger image. You can say not to show it again, continue. It has now downloaded this as a cube, and I'm going to open that. This should show me a picture, there it is, of my cube that I made. And that would be one of 5 submissions you're going to give to me for your puzzle cube. That would be acceptable as one of them. Once you're done that, I would suggest coming over here and saying you want to make a new one. So you click these little arrows right here, and you click create new, and you can make a new puzzle image, save your new puzzle image, and then do that for all 5 pieces until you've completed it. I hope this covers how to make basic cubes and have them snap together in SketchUp, and have a good day.